Hey, what up, you guys? It's your girl Taylana, and welcome back. Today, got a little bit of a different video for y'all. I have a lot of opinions, as many people do. Since the beginning of the pandemic, people have sincerely struggled with being able to wear masks. We have our Karens, we have our male equivalent of Karens, we have our everything in between
equivalent of Karens.
There's just a lot of people that don't want to or do not know how to properly wear a mask. And as a psychology student, I really want to know why. I'm very sincerely curious why it's so hard for people to wear a mask when it's literally just not even that hard and like not that much to add to your like daily routine. It's just like wearing a fucking mask. Let's talk about it. Basically mid-December, they announced that there was a COVID vaccine. After a long year of waiting, they finally announced a vaccine. Ever since the vaccine came out, states all over the US have just been giving up. People have been giving up on COVID and basically thinking it's over. And hate to break it to you, it's not over, babes. It's not over till it's over, and it's not. It's not over till herd immunity, and baby, that's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute, and I'm gonna tell you why it might not happen. So a lot of states, including my own, states all over the US have stopped their mask mandates and have stopped a lot or all of their COVID guidelines and restrictions. Places are opening up full force, they're opening schools again, and I have a problem with it. After a year of quarantine, it should be more than obvious that this is not something that goes away after 2 minutes, like even after the vaccine comes out. I'm so happy that people are vaccinated. I'm so happy that 56 million people plus now, God, it goes up like 4 million a day. Over 56 million people in the US have been vaccinated, and that's literally amazing. And I'm so unbelievably happy, and I'm not here to rain on your parade, but hi.
I'm Mother Nature, and I'm here to rain on your parade.
It's amazing that people are vaccinated. It's amazing that there's vaccines out, and it's great that people are getting them. But until herd immunity, which will take a while and may not even come, we can't act like nothing's changed. Even after you're vaccinated, you still need to be wearing a mask. I don't know why that's super hard to understand, because I feel like we're going to be wearing masks for a long time, or at least the people that somewhat cared about the pandemic in the first place are going to be wearing masks for a while after this. But pretty much, I'm going to give you a real quick rundown of the vaccine. As part of the Pfizer gang here, baby, I got you pretty much for all vaccines 2 weeks after your first shot, not the day of, not the day after. 2 weeks after your first shot, you're 50% less likely to experience serious symptoms or die of COVID, and you're protected from it. There is no evidence yet to show that you can't transmit COVID to other people even if you're vaccinated. So it's, of course, better to assume than to not assume that you can give COVID to other people even if you're vaccinated. So that still means wearing a mask, because you don't want to be the person that gets your friends sick. So until we know evidence on that, we're not going to be doing that, okay? Okay, good set. So then 2 weeks after the second dose, 2 weeks after, open your ears, 2 weeks after, then you are 95% protected against COVID if you have the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines. They're pretty much both around 95% effective. All the states that are relaxing their guidelines and getting rid of mask mandates are basically causing a fourth wave, and we really wouldn't have had 3 already if we never at any point during this entire year loosened our COVID restrictions and mask mandates for even a minute. If we kept the mask mandates going and never lessened on restrictions for even a minute, there would have not been multiple waves, I gotta say. Maybe let's try not to be a part of the problem and start the fourth wave, which also, just need to throw it out there, the more people that get COVID, the more chances for variants there are, and there's already so many variants. I know the UK variant is the most common variant of COVID in America. We don't want that because eventually it's going to mutate so much that the vaccine isn't effective against it, which is going to be a big ass problem. So we really don't want to get COVID part 2 next year because so many people waited to get the vaccine. Anywho, I have some statistics on how many people are wearing masks today. I mean, we know all the Karen videos. I dressed up as a Karen for Halloween. Check those pics out. But though 83% of US adults view wearing a mask as an effective way to stay safe from COVID-19, their mask wearing behavior is very inconsistent, even while they engage in higher risk activities. This is a problem, and this is why people think they're safe and then get COVID. If you're always being safe, you're not gonna ever think that you have COVID. I just need to say that. So This study was from December. 2/3 of Americans reported being in close contact with people outside their household in early December, but only about half of them said they mostly or always wore a mask during so. You take off your mask for a second, you inhale some stanky COVID breath.
You're gonna get sick.
Not effective to take it on and off when you're around people. You already exposed yourself to them and it doesn't change anything. So maybe just keep it on the whole time. Let's just do that. Well, 14% of Americans gathered in groups of 10 or more. Just 46% of people wore a mask most or all of the time they were together.
46%.
We don't want that. We want 90-something% of people to be wearing masks all the time, but not this, okay? I need to talk about this first on friends and the pandemic, because this is something that apparently I'm the underdog in this view. Unpopular opinion, but scientifically correct opinion.
Let's get into it.
I think that it's pretty logical to think that the places that everyone goes the most often would be exposed to the most people and therefore would be the least safe from COVID, okay? Stay with me. A lot of these places are essential. Essential, most people need to go there, okay? Why are people going to these essential places and thinking that they are essential, therefore I am safe? If you are going somewhere that is essential, you are inherently being unsafe. Probably one of the most unsafe places to go is essential places because everyone has to go there. I would say the grocery store is one of the least safe places because of how many people everyone needs to go to. Everyone needs to go to a grocery store. You're coming in contact with everyone, unless you are doing at-home delivery like we are, so anywho. And by essential, I mean grocery stores, I mean doctors, I mean hospitals, I mean those places, the essentials, not the unessential and completely unsafe places like hairdressers, spas, schools. I'm gonna go there and put schools, because schools do not totally need to be in person. And another unpopular opinion, but I truly don't think that's necessary. Also, frick you, Doug douchebag, for opening all the schools in Arizona. Thanks for jacking up our fucking cases, hard eyes. I'm just saying that the thought process that just because you're going somewhere that's essential does not mean you're being safe. We need to make sure that that's established as a ground rule for the rest of this. I don't know. I know some people that genuinely don't care and make light of COVID and, oh, my whole friend group got COVID. Yeah, that's because it spreads through friend groups and I don't want to hear anyone. Oh my gosh. One of the things that I do not understand is how people think that they are safe because they only hang out with their 10 closest friends. Do you know how many fucking people I've heard say that?
And let me get into it.
I truly don't understand why it's so hard for people to just sit at home and then just Zoom with their friends. Zoom just stopped, people stopped using Zoom. People stopped FaceTiming their friends. They just hang out in person now, and that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Basically, the excuse that people use where they say, oh, I only hang out with my 10 closest friends. We're safe. We have our little close group of people that only see each other. Does anyone else see a problem with that? Let's get into it.
Take a shot every time I say let's get into it.
It's really like a sad logic puzzle that they give kindergartners, and they're like, let's say it like the spreading STDs. Let's go to a nice family-friendly topic. So let's say you do the dirty with one person. You are basically sleeping with one person, but then you're also sleeping with every person they've slept with, and then every person they've slept with, and then they slept with. And it gets to this giant pyramid scheme of STDs. I sound like a gym teacher, hi.
Do not have sex ever, or you will get pregnant and you will die.
Mean Girls. Do you guys get that? Because that's how infections start, is you're hanging out with people and they hung out with someone who had it and they hung out with someone who had it, and it's all coming back to you, and then you're giving it to all of your family that you live with, or all of your roommates that you live with, and all of the people in your classrooms and your work and everything. And that's how this pandemic continues, is because people think that they're hanging out with their 10 closest friends and they're safe, but they're not. That is just not safe. When I say I've been in quarantine for a year, I mean I've been in quarantine for a year. I have not hung out with a friend within 6 feet, within 10 feet, really. I do not get close to anyone without double masking for me, one mask for them, whatever. I have done only social distance car hangouts for this entire year, and I'm not literally fucking ashamed of it, because look who didn't get COVID. Look who didn't get any of her friends sick. I know that there are people that agree with me. I know there's people that also have high-risk family members, and just truly, I don't think that you need an excuse. I don't think you need an excuse to want to not get sick and not have long-term health ramifications and not get your family sick. I don't think you need to have the excuse, oh, my family's high risk. I don't know why people started using that as the only valid excuse to not hang out with someone, but it's fucked. So it's basically saying you're only okay because that person might die of it, but you don't care that me, a healthy teenager, could also still die of it. But that's something to think about, because I know the people that also have high-risk families and have been doing the same thing as me for a year. Don't know a lot of you, but I love you guys and I appreciate you, because we're the ones that are keeping our friends safe and our families safe. Anywho, that's my little rant on that. Okay, so another question that I have just on the whole topic of why is it so hard to wear a mask? How are people genuinely okay and mentally sound with the thought that you could have COVID and give it to someone else, and it could affect them for the rest of their life because you didn't want to wear a mask? I do not understand that thought process and lack of caring for other people. Okay, I don't want to hear one person say, oh, well, I don't have COVID. Well, did you get tested and quarantine until you saw the person? No, then it doesn't count. But I'm saying that 50% of cases are asymptomatic. So you can just say, oh, I don't have COVID all day long, but you probably don't know, okay? So it's better to act like everyone has it, including yourself, and try to protect everyone. Okay, that was the original thing that the CDC said. Act like everyone has it and act like you have it so you don't pass it to other people. It's the ability to care for other people without being sure that you are putting them at risk. It's being the most safe. The essential places, what totally seals the deal for me for seeing that those places aren't actually safe at all. Let's take the grocery store. I know people that I follow and I've unfollowed on social media that work at grocery stores, at restaurants, etc., etc. All of these essential places post videos or pictures of them taking their mask off inside, or customers not wearing their masks inside. And yeah, I would believe that it would be somewhat safe if every person wore it correctly over their nose and never took it off from the second they entered the building. But that's just not the way that things are. And these videos of seeing people taking off their masks because there's no one around them except for all of their coworkers, you guys are missing the point, okay? You're not supposed to be taking off your mask indoors, okay? Because you open it, you breathe, the particles are in the air, and then they stay there for a couple hours. So keep them on when you're working. And I'm not saying quit your damn job. I'm saying do not tell me that it is safe when it's not. Another problem, I think that is one of the biggest reasons, is that people have a really hard time ignoring the pleasure principle. It's a theory by Freud, and it's basically, hi, inner psych major. Oh my God, I'm using my degree for something. Wow. Basically, that people in life want to maximize pleasure and minimize pain. So people have a problem with only focusing on the pleasure in life when there's sometimes that you just need to not. And you need to deal with the pain, and you need to deal with being alone, because in the long term, it will create pleasure and life and not killing everyone you know. I truly don't understand how people can put their short-term pleasure over long-term health and happiness and the general well-being of society, and people can't put that above their short-term, I want to go to this party with my friends. Well, look at the long-term. We got to plan things out. We got to look at the future, how this decision to go out and be unsafe and not wear a mask is going to literally affect your entire life due to the long-term side effects of COVID, of course. Let's go on to why people wear them incorrectly. I truly don't fucking know. I wish I could give you an answer, but now we're gonna get into the real answers, psychological answers for why people find it so hard to wear a mask. So firstly, I don't really understand why people can't wear them correctly. There are basically people that just think they're exceptions to the rules. They think, oh, I can't get COVID. Oh, I can't get a bad case of it. Oh, I can't die from it. I'm young. I'm whatever. Like, they give excuses and they think, oh, it can't happen to me. But everyone thinks they can't happen to them. Do you see the plot hole where, like, well, if it can't happen to you and it can't happen to anyone else, how is there a pandemic and how are people dying from this? People just think they're the exception to the rule, and that's why they don't take it serious, and they have their group of 20 friends that they all hang out with, and they think that's safe, but because they're the exception and you're not. You're not. The CDC never gave you guidelines that said you can have parties with your 10 closest friends, and it's okay because they know you. The excuse, it's okay, I know them. just not, it's not an excuse. It's just dumb. It's just dumb. It's really, you get sick from the people closest to you normally. Remember the flu, the cold? You know, when we were in school in person and all that, and you get little tiny colds. It was from your friends. It was from your family. I know I have a family of 6 people. When one of us would get a cold, all of us would get a cold. It would go through us fast. You get it from the people you're around most. So you're in school and you're talking to your friends, you're in each other's faces, and you're going to get it from the people closest to you. So the excuse, it's okay because I know them, is actually one of the dumbest things, because it doesn't matter if you know them. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The virus does not care about your relationships with your friends. Another reason people find it really, really, really hard to wear a mask, apparently, is it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So basically, this is a new behavior. None of us have really experienced a pandemic before. It's a new thing for everyone. And wearing a mask every time you go out, every time you go anywhere, staying 6 feet away from people, it's a new behavior, and people do not generally like change. A very similar thing happened when seatbelts came out in the 80s, 90s, and became mandatory. There were a lot of people that were very against them because it infringes on their rights, or they just did not want to comply and be sheep, or whatever your fucking dick-ass excuses, because it was a new behavior. But then now, everyone my age, in their 20s, you know, we've all grown up. Since birth, you wear your seatbelt in the car, and pretty much everyone wears the seatbelt now, or you should be. That's another topic. If you're not wearing a seatbelt, I have more questions. But people knew that wearing seatbelts were important and mandatory, so they did them. But I don't know why that's still such a fight with masks, even though both are for your safety. Both are required by law. The people that are against wearing masks don't question wearing seatbelts as much as they do wearing masks, and it's because they were taught it at birth. It's the compliance aspect, it's the new behavior and inability to change. It's so hard to wear a mask. And I understand this. I truly do. And this is not just masks. This is just the pandemic as a whole, is the trust issues. It's the denial and not wanting to accept what's happening. And I totally get it. And I don't think truly any of us have actually processed what's going on. We could have processed what happened during the pandemic in little spurts, but I don't think as a whole we really just sat there and we're just like, holy fuck. It's been a year. It's been 14 months, actually. I'm going to have spent 2 birthdays in quarantine, and I haven't hugged my friends in a year. It goes on. We all know, but if you really sit there and actually think about how fucking crazy it is, it's insane, and we are fucking troopers, and we're amazing, okay? The trust issues are another thing, because you're literally supposed to not trust anyone. And so the bitches with trust issues, we already fucking got this covered. We already know. But the people with healthy trust relationships, they don't know what the fuck to do. And they're the people that are struggling. The thought that goes in your head is, I have to wear a mask because I have to assume everyone's not safe, and that they lie about being safe, or that they don't really grasp the concept of that, whether or not they're safe or not. So I can't talk to them, and I can't hug them, and I have to be away from them. And it's just going to get so in your head that you're going to have these trust issues, and it's terrifying. It's just overall the fear of everything coming together. It's causing people to rebel against it because they're scared of actually coming to terms with what's going on and accepting it. Leading off of that, it's just fucking hard to process. I remember last March when everyone was updating everyone on the news every 10 freaking seconds, nonstop. Boom, schools are closed. Boom, you gotta move out. Boom, masks. Boom, 6 feet. Oh wait, that's not good enough. More. Stores are shutting down, and it was fucking insane. And every 10 seconds, we were hearing some terrible new thing that was happening, and it was just overwhelming. I know, I literally fucking lost my shit all of March. That was awful. It was all of the rules changing too, because originally, they said that we didn't need masks. They said they weren't mandatory. And they just said, oh, just stay 6 feet away and it's fine. It was not. I mean, it's just a lot to handle, and people want to live in denial. And I know a lot of people that have literally lived in denial the entire pandemic and just treated it like it didn't happen, because they literally couldn't handle the thought that every person they come in contact with could kill them or kill everyone they know, or that people would lie about being safe. Reason that people don't wear masks, which I gotta say, I mean, we knew it was coming, but politics, babes. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear it. Skip to this timestamp. I don't know. It's really, truly no secret and non-arguable that the people with political views that lean more right fell into the cultish mindset that masks are for weak people and that the pandemic is fake. I mean, like, they also think it, like, a lot of people, like, still don't think it's real, which is like, did you, like, black out for 14 months? Like, bitch, where have you been? But, like, okay. But people that are more right-leaning, more conservative, are the people that do not like wearing masks. So I looked it up, and people are actually more likely to wear masks if they have a personal reason that makes them want to do it. So that's probably why people that have high-risk family members really try to do it. I have 2 high-risk family members. That is my personal reason for being as safe as I am and not taking any risks, because why would I want to put my family's life at stake? I don't know, just a thought. But basically, if you have a real personal reason, like the people that have health issues themselves are more likely to wear masks because they don't want to get sick. If they are very empathetic or care about their friends really deeply and like feel others' pain, they are more likely to wear masks because they have a personal reason that leads to it. And a lot of people apparently don't, or the reasons aren't good enough for them. I mean, it kind of just shows that like people are inherently selfish, and a lot of people can't look outside of their life and look at how their actions affect others and the world as a whole. But another huge thing, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but self-control. And I'm throwing it in there kind of in relation, the pleasure principle, as I already stated. Those are more or less likely to make you wear a mask. So if you have really low self-control and you fall into your impulses really bad and you only like focus on pleasure and can't deal with like pain or just like waiting for things, you probably are not wearing a mask, or not as much as you should be. But it's the self-control of being able to be like, no, I don't want to hang out with you because I want to not get sick. It's fucking hard, dude. But basically, if you think of things that are bigger than yourself, you're more likely to. So, but a lot of their excuses is we don't want to be sheep. The people are sheep that are wearing masks. The people that are following the evidence and science and research of professionals and like hundreds of years of medicine and years of vaccine creating. I would say the other people are closer to being sheeps because they're following what a politician said, a former president that truly lied to the nation just to benefit himself, his investors, his business partners, and his friends, not the millions of people that lost their jobs during the pandemic or are going completely bankrupt due to hospital bills. They don't care about you. You're not special to them. So maybe wear a mask. I don't know. So one of my last reasons for why people don't wear masks is a lack of control. So we talked about self-control, but we're going to lack of control. Basically, for literally the last year, everything has seemed to be out of our control. Like we are putting everything into the hands of the universe or whatever, and we're kind of just like, well, I can't make plans for classes next year, and I can't pick where to live, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, or can I even make these plans for next summer because I don't know when I'm gonna get vaccinated or when I'll be safe or like whatever. It's so hard to plan anything, and made a whole video talking about how upset I was that I couldn't plan any of my classes, and college is really hard during this time. But if you want to check that out, linked up, link down. It's so hard to not control anything, and I totally get it, but a lot of people struggle with it a lot more, and it's the self-control in addition to having a lack of control where they want to just rebel against everything because they're so upset that they don't have control in the situation. And I fucking get it. I'm a control freak too. They take it as wearing a mask is a way to have a sense of control. It's a decision that they can make and no one can control, even though it's illegal to not wear a mask in most states, but like whatever. So, I mean, even though they may not legally be able to control it, they feel like they can. These are the same kind of people that are the rebels and rooting for the other team and not really trying to help the most people, and are kind of selfish and self-centered and just want what's good for them now, immediately, quick pleasure seekers, need control now. Or they're just simply struggling with handling reality, and I get it, but you gotta. The denial that a lot of people are experiencing is completely, it's killing people. It's really bad, and you probably don't want to accept it, and a lot of people haven't, but it's happening, and denial is literally only making it worse. COVID is traumatizing and terrifying, and it's gonna leave us with a lot of fucking issues, but ignorance is not bliss. Ignoring the facts isn't bliss. Ignoring science isn't bliss. Your ignorance is killing people. I don't know why people haven't gotten it sooner, that if we just followed the rules from the beginning and took it serious from the beginning, it really wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did. If everyone took the initial risks of not going to the gym and and not going to hang out with their friends and social distancing and wearing a mask and so on and so on and so on. If they took all those hits early on and stuck with it, they probably didn't get sick, and they probably didn't get anyone else sick. And they were not responsible for the spread of the virus. That's kind of the point, because people are like, oh, I got it, like whatever, like I'm fine. Well, no, because you gave it to someone else. When you were asymptomatic, or if you were always asymptomatic, you gave it to someone else and you were part of the problem. And a lot of the time it's not intentional, but it's something that can be prevented. A brief note, pretty much, is that the vaccine is here. We love her. There's multiple versions. I am
Pfizer certified.
I'm fully vaccinated and I'm loving it. It's hot. Your ass gets really fat when you get vaccinated. I don't know if anyone told you that. And your tits look amazing. Your skin clears up. You just get so much hotter once you get vaccinated. I don't know. But in terms of vaccine, a quarter of Americans aren't going to get it, and a third of Republicans aren't going to get it, which is bad, because that is stopping us from hitting herd immunity, which is roughly 70 to 80% of people having the vaccine. That's what it is. And we are at 69% right now. Or that's 69% people have gotten it or plan on getting it. But if a quarter of people don't get it, that's not enough. And there are people that can change their minds, so you might want to go get it and encourage other people to get it. I know I made my best friend a COVID vaccine appointment along with his whole family because he was taking too long and I missed him. And we're still not hanging out, but I wanted him to be safe because I care about him. You got to take some steps to try to help people around you. And if someone can't figure out how to make an appointment, because it's difficult dependent on the state, but if you don't know how to do it, ask anyone for help. I would love to give you guys some more information on how to get vaccinated, because it's just the closest way to end this in the safest way with the least amount of deaths and long-term sicknesses. But if people are on the fence about getting it, I'm going to make another video talking about that and my experience getting the vaccine, but that will be coming out later. But if you're on the fence about getting it, please don't be. All of the vaccines open up to everyone, all adults, I think this week actually. And now people can stop continuing to pretend that everything's okay when it's not yet, and that people aren't still dying from a now pretty much preventable from dying from disease and having serious reactions to it thanks to the vaccine. If you're considering it, if you're on the fence, just go get it. You're gonna love it. Get a fat ass like me. Anywho, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this new type of format of video. Kind of educational, but kind of psychological, kind of fucking helpful to society, hopefully. Anyhow, if you guys want to see more sit down discussion videos like this, I would love to. And please leave any recommendations down below. I would love to see what you guys want to see from me. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social media at Taylana Jordan. And I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. We're really actually almost at the end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel. It's close, I guess.